We begin with Iron Man, Captain America, and Hawkeye meeting with ugly-ass Red Skull to question him about what the fuck he knows about the Infinity Stones. Hawkeye states that he won't get anything from him after Skull turned crazy, to which Captain America claims they can never let their guard down around Red Skull. Iron Man claims that it might have been true for evil Mastermind Skull, but this cosmic brain fry Skull he can manage. Despite what the others think, Red Skull has indeed lost his mind. When Skull blew up in the air, they also lost all of the signals of the Infinity Stones, and suddenly they picked up a weird energy reading. Iron Man wonders if it was some homing signal, but when Red Skull struggles to make sense, Tony picks up clues from the scribbles on the wall. Iron Man later shares his findings with the rest of the team and suspects that the scribbles on the wall depicted the different Infinity Stones: reality, mind, power, space, and time. He claims that these are the powers of the 5 Infinity Stones. He argues that the issue is not where the Time Stone is, but when it is. Hawkeye worries that they'd be sent to the past, which he is not thrilled about. Captain America argues that the past is where he draws his strength, while Thor claims it is filled with glory. Iron Man states that history is a series of bad ideas they are improving. Arriving at the destination, Iron Man claims that, based on his calculations, the Time Stone should appear right about now. When he was about to recover the Time Stone, it suddenly went straight for his chest, to which his armor suddenly stopped responding, and he fell into the ocean. Thor flies to catch him before he drowns when, out of nowhere, Hawkeye gets whisked away by an old-ass prehistoric pterodactyl. They later find a portal opened, and a herd of pterodactyls emerge. Captain America throws his shield at the pterodactyl, which forces the creature to break its hold on Hawkeye, and to which Hulk catches him. Thor was thrilled to be fighting dinosaurs again. When he throws his hammer at one, the stone in Iron Man's armor suddenly sends a blast to which the pterodactyls disappear, and Hulk nearly gets hit. Iron Man worries that he might have ripped a hole in the fabric of time. Captain America asks him if he can repair it, to which Iron Man reassures them he can, but asks them to remove the stone first from his armor. Thor suggests rebooting his armor, but Iron Man claims it isn't working. The others quickly notice the change in his voice and decide to return to the tower to run a full diagnostic. Back at the tower, Jarvis explains that the armor is fully functional, but doesn't recognize the specific body signature. He claims that the armor seems to think someone else is in it, and Tony insists they remove his armor. He then orders Hulk to remove his faceplate, and they are surprised to discover a much younger Tony Stark inside. Jarvis explains that the armor didn't recognize him because it was designed for an adult Tony Stark, not a teenager. While still figuring shit out, a time blast happens again, and Tony regresses and becomes younger again. It turns out that Iron Man has merged with the Time Stone, causing him to age backward. Falcon explains that his arc reactor is attached to his heart and suspects his heartbeat might be triggering it. He claims that the temporal waves draw in stuff from other generations whenever the stone de-ages him. When Hawkeye wonders what kind of stuff, they suddenly see dinosaurs on screen fucking up the city. The Avengers quickly sprung into action to save the public. When a T-Rex is about to attack a tour bus, Hawkeye shoots a bola arrow to bind its mouth together. When another one approaches the bus, Hawkeye shoots an explosive tip arrow, to which Thor arrives and sends it flying with a punch. When a Triceratops charges at a school bus, Hulk pulls it by its tail and throws it against a wall. Hulk also managed to scare a T-Rex away with its roar, which impressed Falcon. Black Widow handles one of the T-Rex and lures it towards her when it is chasing civilians. She outsmarts it into crashing against a couple of Triceratops, to which Hawkeye then shoots a freeze arrow at them. Back at the tower, Tony finally gets out of his armor, but is displeased when Captain America decides to stay behind. He claims he doesn't need a babysitter, but Cap states he is there to help. Tony claims that he is still brilliant even if he is turned into a teenager. He was tinkering with his armored gauntlet but got zapped when he put it on. Suddenly, he gets hit with another time blast, and Tony gets younger again. This time, the time blast summoned deadly robots from the future hell-bent on human extinction. When Hulk is busy holding 2 Triceratopses down, he sees the robots marching and uses the dinosaurs to ram them. A few robots get around Hulk and shoot at him, and Thor attacks them with lightning. More robots show up on a roof and start shooting at Thor, forcing him to retreat. Hawkeye tries to shoot them all down while Black Widow drives the hoverbike. She claims there are too many of them when the enemy suddenly corners them. Hulk saves them when he throws dinosaurs at the giant robots. Falcon worries that Hulk playing bowling with the dinosaurs will destroy half the city. Hawkeye, Falcon, and Black Widow struggle to handle the overwhelming number of robots shooting at them. Despite wishful thinking, the time blast happens again, and this time it summons the missing squadron of Hydra fighter planes. When the enemy starts shooting at them, Hulk throws abandoned vehicles. The Avengers later find themselves outnumbered and outgunned. Back at the tower, preteen Tony gets impatient when he can't get the armored gauntlets to work. Captain America states he needs to be more patient when Jarvis alerts them of a break-in on the holding cell floor. Cap claims he will handle it and urges Tony to rebuild the armor. When he arrives at the holding cells, he finds Red Skull has broken out. Before he could report it, some dinosaurs tore down the steel doors and started trashing the place. When Skull sees Captain America knocked out from the attack, he rides the elevator to find the stones, which he suspects are with Tony. Tony asks Jarvis to shut down the elevator, but Jarvis explains that the damage to the tower has put the defenses offline. Ugly bald-head Red Skull finally gets off the elevator, but quickly trips on the marbles that Tony has laid out. He ferociously chases after him when Skull backs a young Tony into a corner. When he thinks he has him caught, Skull jumps at him and realizes that it is only a hologram. Tony lures and traps Skull in the training room, to which he activates Captain America's training sequence. Red Skull escapes and follows Tony's shadow, leading him to Thor's room, where a Bilgesnipe, a giant Asgardian creature, is protecting the room. After chasing Red Skull away, Tony returns to his room, where he goes over old pictures. He was disheartened to remember that his father used to miss his birthday parties and send out robots he created to replace his attendants. He later finds his first armor design, which is brilliant, but it never works without an arc reactor, perfect for his particular predicament. Red Skull was chased everywhere by the Bilgesnipe, which he later tricks into rolling down stairs. Skull then arms himself and searches for Tony and the time stone embedded in his chest. Tony tries to hide, but Skull eventually finds and captures him. When he realizes the time stone is on his chest, he tries to grab it, but another time blast blows him away, and Tony is unconscious. The blast made Skull younger and in his prime. When he is about to place his hands on him, Captain America arrives and throws his shield at Skull. While Captain America keeps Skull busy, Tony escapes on rocket skates and finishes the armor he is working on. Skull refuses to return to the holding cell and fights with everything he's got to prevent it from happening. He claims that he has returned and refuses to be captured again. When Skull pins Captain America down, Tony throws his rocket skates at him long enough for Captain America to stand back up and punch him. Skull fights back and knocks Captain America to the ground, capturing and lifting Tony in the air. On his cue, Tony calls forth his armor that knocked down Skull. Pieces of his armor fly to him, and he later declares himself the Iron Kid. Skull is unimpressed and lunges at him, but Tony fires his repulsor beams at point-blank range, which blows him out of the building, where a pterodactyl catches him and flies away. With Skull gone, Captain America checks on Tony, who is pleased with himself for what he did. When the Time Stone acts up again, Captain America believes Tony has complete control of the time slips. Tony worries that he will cease to exist, or, worse, destroy the entire universe. When Tony admits he is scared, Captain America claims he doesn't need to be. Captain America explains that he was already brave long before he became a superhero, and claims that Tony Stark was a hero long before he became Iron Man. Young Tony then embraces Captain America and bravely pulls the Time Stone from his chest. Meanwhile, the Avengers hold their ground against dinosaurs, robots, and Hydra-fascist soldiers. Hawkeye explains that he is left with but one ammo, the untested energy arrow. When he shoots it at the enemy, it quickly takes out 4 fighter planes lined up in a row. When the enemy slowly surrounds them, a time blast appears again, making everything disappear. Back at the tower, Tony Stark returns to normal, and the Time Stone is contained. He then secures the Infinity Stone, intent on recovering the rest. Tony later interrupts Captain America in one of his training sessions. He thought that having a photographic memory meant he'd never forget anything. When Captain America asks what he forgot, Tony claims he learned how tough being a kid can be. He admits that Cap was right and that the past can teach them things. He then hands him an old picture of young Tony wearing Captain America's outfit, implying that he has always wanted to become a superhero like him growing up. Captain America then invited him to join him for training and handed him his shield. Tony jokes about how he can take it to the lab to make some modern improvements. When Captain America isn't thrilled about the idea, Tony wears the shield and resumes the training. Thank you for watching. Check out these other videos, and make sure to subscribe and tap the bell to be notified about our latest videos. See you next time.